Hi, Amy.
Hi, B.
Last night we watched 90 Day Fiancé, season 11, episode 18. This is the big wedding episode.
I was really surprised to see that the next episode is the tell-all.
Indeed, it is.
I am very excited about that.
You are?
Well, yeah, because it's over.
Oh, okay. I was like, excited for tell-all? What? No,
Nope.
especially given the looks of this coming tell-all. It has all the appearance of being entirely horrendous.
And more than one episode.
Always more than one episode, unnecessarily so.
But how many episodes?
God only knows. It will be revealed in due process.
That's how I feel about that.
In the meantime, let's get to this. We're going to first do a 1 and 2. 1, rate. A ruru, which means rate, review, and follow us wherever you listen to the podcast, please. And 2, watch the podcast on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé. Honestly. All right, let's not wait any moment longer. What happened?
I am reminding you of the comment.
Oh, there was a comment. Yes. So what was the comment from our listener last week? Can you refresh my memory, or do I have to look it up?
You'll have to look it up.
Oh, scheisse.
I only set the reminder to remind you
of not actually give me the content. Okay, hang on just one moment. Okay, here is the comment from our listener, Kimberly Joe. Mark should have been there with Mina when she called Clayton. He leaves all the emotional issues up to women. He's so pathetic. Comments?
I would have to agree with her on that one. I think it would have been great for him to be there for emotional support when she did call him.
Yeah.
And he really failed by just not being there for her or for Clayton. And this is supposed to be the kid that he's adopting.
Yes.
So not only is Clayton going to be his stepchild, but soon to be his adopted child. And he just made himself so sparse.
Yeah. I mean, there was at least him reminding Mina or telling Mina, it's urging her to go and make the phone call right away. That was good. But yes, stepping out of it entirely does indicate, yes, that he tends to relinquish all of the emotional duties to women and doesn't take those on himself. I don't think... Now, I was going to say that this is not unfamiliar territory to a lot of men, but that's sexist. I'm not going to say that. It's just up to the person. Some people are more emotional than others, women, men, whoever. So maybe he's used to that. Maybe that's his pattern. And I agree with you that it would have been really nice had he been there on the call with Clayton as his prospective or future adoptive father to say, hey, buddy, we really are going to miss you, but we're going to make the best of it. Just like your mom said, we're going to have a video of you and a chair just for you right in the front row of the wedding. So yeah, agreed on all fronts.
Yeah, I think he really failed at that point. Yeah.
Let's proceed with this week's couples, Stevi and Mahdi. So we have finally the denouement of the conversation that Saeed began last week with Stevi, where he wanted to, quote unquote, confront her. Oh, come on, producers. You can do better than this. And Stevi kicks all of her bridesmaids out of the room so she can talk to Saeed alone. This is in the middle of her doing her hair, her makeup, getting dressed. Why? The dramatics are a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And then when he says, oh, I'm trying to help you and Maddie, I'm acting in your and Maddie's best interest by posing these questions and making you think about these issues. It's baloney. I didn't believe a word of it. The apology is hollow. It's self-serving. He just wants to look good. He's had his moment of being the dramatic friend who brings up the big issue. And now he's going to the territory of, forgive me for my sins. I was mean. I didn't really intend to make you feel that way. I'm such a good person.
It was for the best for both of them, for him to step in. It's as if he doesn't trust Maddie's sense of judgment and just completely stomped all over his autonomy. You know, whatever.
Exactly. Whatever. It's a stupid ploy, I think, by production. to bring up this little thing. So I was not happy with that moment. Next, we have the magical moment when we reveal is Mahdi's dress, Stevie's dress, going to fit her? Will it be a perfect magical fit? Just like some kind of moment from a Disney movie with birds chirping and squirrels singing? And yes, it is.
And it fit. Okay, great.
You sound enthusiastic.
Totally. And I loved it when she looked at her friends and she's like, do I look okay? He's setting the bar really low there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What every bride hopes to achieve.
Yes. I mean, I think she did look great. And especially with the limited amount of time that she had to get 4 dresses, however many. I would say that it was a success.
Totally. It fit her well. The only slight criticism I have is that because she got the dress at the very, very last minute, literally the morning of the wedding, she wasn't able to get the hem sewn up to the right length. So she was constantly having to pull it up in her hands, which kind of destroys the line of the dress. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to see it just fall naturally to the floor, but it was obviously a little bit too long for her and she was tripping on it or stepping on it. So she had to constantly hold it up, which was
Did nobody think to bring a sewing kit?
Really? Yeah. What is wrong with everybody? I have a sewing kit with me when I go to the grocery store. Come on.
Well, I don't do that. But when I was in a wedding, been in a couple, but I brought a sewing kit because I was reading up online. What do you bring when you're getting ready for a wedding? A sewing kit was one of them. Sure enough, the zipper broke on my friend's dress, and we ended up pulling down a fishing rod from the rafters, and I brought needles. So then we were able to just like quickly sew her into it.
Wow.
Yeah. So if they brought, safety pins or something, they would have been able to pin it up. But I mean, I understand that the entire month leading up to this must have just been like utter chaos. So it
is what it is. Yeah. And it came off really well considering how short a time they had.
Yep.
I want to go to talk about Mahdi getting dressed because this was kind of hilarious to me. The fact that he doesn't know how to tie a tie, that he's never worn a tie, and Saeed also doesn't know how to tie a tie, and they both, between the two of them, absolutely fail at putting this thing on. It was utterly hilarious.
When Saeed was just like, well, tuck it in. Oh no, that looks awful. Yeah, let's just ask someone else. Yeah. I thought it was really, it was cute. It was innocent. And also kind of sad at the same time. I know how to tie a tie. Why don't you?
Yeah. Really funny and a lovely moment that is completely natural and understandable, relatable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
Then they actually get to the wedding, and there's this special setup that Stevie has left at the wedding venue for Mahdi specifically. It's called a haft scene, an Iranian tradition. I'd never heard of it before, but it looked kind of neat, and he got really emotional about it.
I thought it was such a sweet gesture on her part. He wasn't asking for anything that we saw. So for her to go out of her way to make this happen, I think it was just absolutely perfect. And I put in my notes, look at Stevie putting in the effort. Jessica, take note. A little late for that.
Excellent.
But
yeah.
Anyway, I think Stevie did really well. And the fact that she had the forethought to do that, given the very limited amount of time that they had to plan this wedding, she gets points for that.
Totally. I loved it. I thought it was a great touch to not only include an element of his culture, but also just to help him feel like I've got you. Mm-hmm. I'm here to support you. And I recognize where you come from and the journey you've made. And I'm not going to try to turn you into somebody who you're not. So I thought that was really thoughtful. It brings out a little bit of the homesickness in him to see this, but it's kind of a happy sadness. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's bitter. It's bittersweet for him. And I love that. I love the fact that he gets emotional so easily, that he's really in touch with himself and his emotional spectrum, and he's not afraid to show it. I think that bodes really well for their relationship.
I agree. Yes. And for her to do all of that in the background without him catching on, I thought that was really sweet. It was really thoughtful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other couple of things that I noted were, first of all, it has only been 1 month that Mahdi has been in the country, that they've been planning this wedding. They skipped way ahead of their schedule of 90 days. They only waited 30 days to get married in order to take advantage of the cheaper visa processing fee, I think it was. So that's pretty remarkable. Have we seen anything this quick on 90 Day before? I don't think we have.
Not to this level.
Yeah. And then the other thing that struck me was that after the wedding ceremony, of course, they do the public kiss, which would have been a real challenge for Mahdi before, but he's able to pull it off with just kind of a little bit of a laugh beforehand that acknowledged between the two of them that this is not normal for him to be kissing in public on the lips. But he's going to do it because this is his new life and he's embracing it. Funny. Fully.
You okay over there?
I'm fine. I'm doing great.
My last note was, I believe they had a baked potato bar at the wedding. I saw somebody putting bacon bits on a potato, and then it really made me crave sour cream.
Okay.
Yep. That was my last note.
All right. Shall we move on?
Sure.
Reading on to Shekinah and Sarper, and their bedding day is here at last.
I hate that term, by the way.
So do I. I find it kind of gross, but it is the time of their thing. Sarper, wow, this was kind of startling to hear about, that Sarper's been having these nightmares and woke up screaming, according to Shekinah, the night before his wedding.
Yes, and I said he's having nightmares because he's marrying you. And then I also caught her saying, I forget who she was talking to, but she's, Sarper's having nightmares and he's been disrupting my sleep. Beautiful. Okay. Beautiful moment.
Lovely concern for your partner. Yeah. When somebody is having nightmares that are that violent, to be shouting or screaming in your sleep, I think to myself, perhaps you should pay attention to those feelings and look into that a little bit further, because your subconscious may be trying to tell you something very important.
And for her not to wake him up. Like, I've had times when I'm like crying or whimpering in my sleep and my partner wakes me up and like, are you okay? I'm like, I don't know. Why am I crying? So for her not to even wake him up, to hold him, to support him, to ask him if he's okay is, it's Shekinah. We really, what am I thinking? As if she's going to do that. Because she's going to think, oh no, she wakes him up and now he's awake and now she's going to have to comfort him and that's going to interrupt her sleep even further.
There's a point when Shekinah's on the phone with Courtney, I think it is, or Courtney's there. I can't remember which, but she calls Sarper a baby to Courtney and says that he's unstable. Not great words to use. That she's worried that he's not going to show up for the wedding, because he does kind of go and do the same ghosting thing that he did to her a couple of days ago, where he's not answering her text messages. But he does finally answer the phone. Everything is fine. Again, we're being led down a false narrative path by the production team to think, oh my God, he's not going to come to the wedding. This is so tragic. But just given that it's an opportunity for Shekinah to either show compassion or lack of compassion for her husband-to-be, and she always fails to show compassion. She always goes the route of putting him down, calling him names. I just find it really uncomfortable, the way that they've set these two up for this season. I'm not happy with the portrayal of this relationship. I think that they're deliberately perhaps villainizing Shekinah. Not that I think that she really deserves any other portrait painted of her, but they're taking it a little bit too far. Like, this is your wedding day and you're calling him a baby moments before you're about to walk down the aisle with him. Really?
Walk down the hallway.
Whatever. Jump into the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. They get dressed for the wedding. What did you think?
I think that this is going to be painful. I think Shekinah actually looked absolutely stunning. Clearly not an outfit that I would ever wear myself, but I think her hair and her makeup were just flawless. The dress, question mark?
Handkerchief?
Fit her perfectly. And Sarper looked like a Chippendale.
Yeah, Chippendale is what I wrote down. I thought that it was gross that he ended up wearing that outfit. Just put on a shirt, Sarper. Really, it's not going to kill you. And to cover up a little bit of your chest. And Shekinah's outfit, okay, I get that it fit her like a glove, and she has this perfect whatever body. I didn't like it. They both look like they were about to star in some kind of adult film.
Yes.
She was showing way too much cleavage and way too much leg for my taste. That's just me.
And
I don't think you should look like you're wearing lingerie when you're at your wedding, even if it is in bed. A little decorum would have gone a long way, I think.
I agree with you. And the way that they were, I don't even want to say sitting, but like perched on the bed, or at least she was. I would assume it was because of the boning in the corset that she couldn't actually sit in any other way. It was just...
Or it was just too short, so it would reveal everything if she was to sit in any kind of position where her legs weren't kind of together and off to the side.
Yes. It was awkward. That was a lot of effort. You know, moving the bed into the dining room and whatever. That was a lot of work for like not even a 5-minute ceremony. Nobody was there, and then they eat cake by themselves in the room. And you know how upset they were, or her friends were, when she's like, we're not having a wedding, we're having a wedding. Like, they couldn't just come over for a couple drinks afterwards. You can't share the cake with them. You're just gonna do all this by... Okay, whatever.
All of those points are very good and valid. Why were the friends not there? Why was it just the violinist, the officiant, and the two of them? What? And where was Courtney, who had been organizing this whole wedding? Why was it such a big deal that Shekinah didn't have exactly the perfect room that she wanted, with the non-scuffed floors and all of the things that were looking a little bit worn, if she and Sarper were the only ones who were going to be there in attendance? I don't understand.
I don't know.
There's no guests. Who are your witnesses?
Yes. And for two people who are so incredibly self-involved and are so worried about aesthetics, they didn't have a photographer.
That too.
Okay.
There was a lot missing. It just seemed such a letdown. The funny part during the ceremony was Shekinah saying, I trust you completely. Good one, Shekinah.
Yep. Okay.
None of us are buying that one. I trust you completely. Wow.
Right. Tell that to Sarper's AirTag.
Yeah. Shall we read on?
Yes.
Okay, we have to go and talk about Matt, Amani, and Ani. It's the last day in Mexico together, but unfortunately things are not going well. There is, in fact, a big fight occurring when we first see these three lovely people.
Okay.
Ani thinks that Amani is using money to control her. Amani has promised Ani to give her money as a way, I think, to offset her costs for this time that she's been away from work. So she wants to help her with her rent, with her bills, expenses. But the money hasn't arrived at this point. And Ani is ready to walk away because she feels that Amani is withholding the money deliberately because Ani made the decision to marry Matt rather than her.
Well, doesn't that timeline just line up quite perfectly?
I didn't know what to make of this. It's so far-fetched and wild.
And for Amani to say, you know, the wire transfer isn't going through because she's currently in Mexico? Whatever. Sorry, I keep saying that. I'm so over a lot of this shit.
It's interesting to watch Amani completely lose her shit.
Yes.
She goes off on Ani a few times. She insults Ani about her job. She insults her about the way she looks. She insults her about being a bipolar bitch, which is pure projection. And meanwhile, Matt is running around like a deer caught in the headlights. He doesn't know what to do, how to calm Amani down, how to solve this problem. He's the peacemaker. These two are completely at odds with each other. Ani's kind of like doing the cold shoulder, but not. It's It's a bit of distancing. She's not making eye contact. She is kind of talking a little bit, but off to the side and softly. She's not really engaging at all.
No. And why would she? She knows what's going to happen. Amani's just going to lose it even more.
She does. She completely loses the plot. It's like she can't cope with somebody being that quiet with her when she's so angry.
Mm-hmm.
So after she gets really angry, she starts using tactics like bringing out the self-pity. She says about Ani that she obviously wants to be with you, Matt. I'm the problem. Well, in this moment, you kind of are. But if you want an answer as to why Ani decided to marry Matt, this kind of behavior should show you everything you need to know, because this is the reason why Ani is choosing Matt over you.
Mm-hmm. And then we find out that she didn't even need to make a choice. Okay, great. So happy for all of you. And then Amani just spitting out that, she's tried harder with Ani than she ever has with Matt. I was like, whoa.
Why are you trying to undermine your marriage at the same time as undermining your relationship with your girlfriend?
Well, I wonder if she pulls this often with Matt, just spitting vitriol, and so it just goes in one ear and out the other.
Could be.
It's entirely possible that he just doesn't have the mental capacity to digest what she's saying anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's so juvenile.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I'm sorry, I'm not the person you want or the person you deserve. Like, all of that is so self-reflective. It's not about actually apologizing to Ani and saying, I'm sorry I've treated you this way and that you feel this way as a result of my behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, pity me because now I'm alone and abandoned.
I am upset. Okay, that's great. And, the apology outside the airport or whatever, really appreciated the fact that Ani just didn't engage. And her with the little interview, and she's like, she really needs to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist or whatever. I was like, Ani's clocked it several times throughout the season. I'm so glad that she walked away. But my question was, what is she going to do with those hats? Because she had her carry-on and her purse and whatever, and then the hats.
I have no answer to the hat question. I'm sorry. But I did have a question about why they're even at an airport. They drove to Tijuana, and now they're flying back to San Diego?
You're right. They did.
They drove with a car full of junk for Ani and her daughter. So where did that go?
Was it a rental?
I don't know.
Right.
But it just seems weird. And it's what was it? A 2-hour drive? You can't drive. You're gonna fly.
It wasn't even a 2-hour drive.
They were in Guadalajara at that point. They weren't in Tijuana.
Yeah,
I'm not sure the distance between the 2 points.
They also drove to Tijuana.
Yeah. They've been driving since they left San Diego.
And
so
now Ani has to take a flight back to Guadalajara.
No, to Tijuana. They were in Guadalajara.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't understand what was going on, why things were that way. You've got questions about the hats. I've got questions about the cars and the planes.
So glad that we're focusing on the real content.
Yes, I think that's pretty indicative of the quality of this couple's relationship. We have questions that are not particular to them at all. We're just looking at the surroundings.
I find it really difficult to focus on that when now I have this ridiculous craving for sour cream.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Some things are more important than others, and that's one of them.
Indeed it is. Reading on, let's visit with Jessica and Juan.
Mm-hmm.
When they get up in the morning to get ready for their wedding, Jessica's up bright and early, bushy-tailed. She's running around doing stuff, and Juan is still asleep in the bed. He's taking a much more relaxed approach to their wedding day. In fact, it seems like he's not too bothered to move at all or do anything at all. As it turns out, he hasn't even written any of his vows yet. It's the day of their wedding. It's just hours away, and he still has not written his vows. What does that tell you?
In his defense, his vows were beautiful. I think he did really well. And to say them in both languages, I thought was really special. And, I think when Jessica told him that she wrote 6 pages for her vows, I think that really, like, it caused him a lot of anxiety. How am I going to be able to compare to that? And yet we didn't even hear most of what she said. And then we find out that it's on like these little teeny tiny little pieces of paper. So she really blew that out of proportion.
Mm-hmm. She did make the gesture of incorporating some Spanish into her vows, which was good. It was a positive step. I hope that she truly intends to go ahead and learn Spanish so that they can communicate in that language for David's sake, especially.
I don't believe it.
I don't have much faith in her, unfortunately.
No, and she wrote her vows how long ago? And then she had her friend reviewing them the day of. So was this a last minute decision to add in some Spanish?
I think that was one of his family members. And so she wouldn't have had access to her maybe before a couple of days before the wedding when everybody arrived at that house. But you're right. She is also leaving stuff up to the last minute.
Yep. I wouldn't put it past her just to stop learning Spanish. Like that was her extent. She's been pushing back on that for years now. So why is the day of your wedding going to change all of that?
I don't think it will.
No.
But I'm just trying to be positive and hope for the best, knowing that it is very important to Juan. And by the way, did we notice all of the Colombian aspects of this ceremony?
Oh, the Colombian paper flowers. I was keeping an eye out for them, and then when I actually saw them, I'm like, I can't believe that they actually used those. They were so tacky, so gaudy.
It looks like they were tucked away and only used in a very limited capacity at the reception, like to decorate the tables or something. They were not present at all during the wedding ceremony that I could see. So yeah, they definitely were relegated to a back dark, dusty corner where nobody could see them.
Well, it was on their picture table. Their couple-y picture table.
Okay.
But so 2 things. Juan's aunts walking him down the aisle I thought was really sweet and really special. And then with the boys walking down, all 3 of them together, I thought that was sweet. But of course, Jessica had to ruin it with that stupid little sign from HomeSense.
Totally.
Of course you would. She's going to put that on the wall too.
I don't think that it's possible for Jessica to live without some kind of, what are they called? Aphorism?
I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
Whatever. The inane quote. Without, it's impossible for her to live without an inane quote somewhere in her daily life.
Oh, yeah. The platitudes.
Yeah.
That fit? Does that fit?
That fits.
Okay.
Now, there was somebody in the audience whose face I recognized, and I could not for the life of me remember who it was. Who was it, please?
I forget their names, but he was the one that moved from somewhere in South America to be with her. And she had like a couple roommates, and then she had another friend move in without talking to him. I forget their names, but I didn't like her.
Yeah, I remember. Can't remember his name. He's slightly younger than her, and she lives in Florida. Yes. Okay, so it is another 90-day couple.
And
I
she
thought
drank
it was.
a lot. I remember that too. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
The only part of the ceremony or the reception that I found to be at all heartwarming was when they played the salsa music and everybody started dancing. I was like, yay, finally something from his culture. But I mean, it's from a lot of cultures, salsa music. So it didn't really feel like they were making that much of an effort.
Well, she could have also just been, reminiscing about being on the cruise ship, because I'm sure they played a ton of salsa music there. Anyway, she didn't put in enough effort, in my opinion. She was just coasting.
Okay, fair enough. Would you like to read on?
Yes, please.
Mark and Mina. There is a special spot for Clayton at the ceremony. He's got a chair in the front row, and there's a photo of him and his mom on the chair. I thought everybody looked really, really sharp, really good, except at the beginning when Mark constantly had that bit of Kleenex stuck to his face because he'd cut himself shaving, and they were taking pictures while he had it on him still. It's like, just take it off, Mark, please.
Yeah. I thought Mina's makeup artist did her dirty. We've seen her look just absolutely stunning, like first thing in the morning. And it just like the hairline was off. There was like no blending with the makeup into the hair. She's looked so much better, and I kind of felt bad for her. And then I wondered, was that the dress that she actually tried on at the shop? Because it looked completely different.
Oh, I thought it was the same dress.
It looked different to me, but I could be out to lunch.
Okay, I thought it was the same one, and I thought she looked amazing in it. I agree with you about the hair and makeup. It was off, definitely. But there were points in the evening towards the end when she looked better than at the beginning when she just had it done. Did you find that as well?
Yes, I did note that.
Okay. But the boys especially, I thought, looked really, really good, the men.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the wedding itself, she looked so incredibly nervous. I'm not sure if she had caught a glimpse of herself in the mirror and she was just horrified by what she saw, and so that emotion was coming out on her face, but there was something going on that made me think she was incredibly nervous.
Yeah, there was something off.
Yeah.
It could have been
that.
What it was. I don't know. She wasn't her. She just didn't have the same spark that she normally does or did. It was strange. And then for her to put did you notice her with the straps?
No.
The little transparent straps that you use to hang your dress up. She actually was wearing them as straps.
Okay. Yeah, and some people do that.
That was just weird. And as a model, she knows what they're for. So what?
I know.
It was confusing.
It was a nice touch that they had both French and English vows, so she could feel completely comfortable. Good idea.
Was great. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then the seaplane at the end where the bride and groom go off for a little celebratory ride while everybody else gathers and gets ready for the reception, I thought was a sweet idea. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Their first flight as marrieds.
Way to incorporate his profession and to give them a moment with just the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really nice.
Yeah. And then what was sweet to see was that Jordan, Mark's daughter, seemed to really be enjoying herself at the wedding more than I had expected her to. And although she still expresses the fact that she does not want them to have any more children, at least for the moment, she seems to be accepting of Mina and admitting that her dad is happy that this can proceed. She's on his side. She's on Mina's side. Any other comments?
I didn't see the food.
Okay. Fair enough. We did not see enough food. Let's read on with Shawn and Alliya. This is their first day as a married couple, and it is not the best first married day I've ever seen.
And they spent their wedding night in separate bedrooms.
That is so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they had to, go and get it on, but just to be together after you had your wedding ceremony, even though things fell apart, they can't even come together for the night to be close to one another. It was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah. And for Shawn's mom to go to the hospital like right after the wedding, and then for Alliya to not even ask how she was doing, I thought that was really sad because he called her out on it.
He called her out on not wanting to know more during the wedding or just before the wedding when all the information she got was from Jackie.
Oh, that was
who had received the text.
Oh, yeah. I was wrong. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that Alliya wasn't paying attention and not giving any sympathy to his mom after when she went to the hospital. Because when we saw Jackie deliver the news to Alliya the day before that she had taken the fall and that Shawn was very upset by this, Alliya was visibly stricken. She was really stressed out about it. But yeah, there is so much wrong with this couple in this moment. And if this is truly what's going on between the two of them, it's a huge problem because not only have they not really been speaking, they didn't spend the night together. They're very quiet. They obviously have a lot of things that they need to work through and discuss. But Shawn accuses her right off the bat saying, you took all the joy out of it for me, out of the wedding day. And then he targets Alliya and he targets Jackie for not staying on top of things and keeping Alliya on time. And then he says, which is the biggest threat of all, I'm not going to be able to continue to love you if you're making me feel that you're selfish. If you're making me feel that you're selfish. So she doesn't even have to be selfish. It could just be a hint of her being selfish, and he will take that badly and stop loving her. Am I understanding that right?
That's what I got.
How are you supposed to navigate that when your partner says that to you?
Oh, I feel like that would just be so completely demolishing. Like, what do you even say to that? It's like he's dangling that carrot that she's never going to be able to attain because it's all about his feelings, and she can't control his feelings. So if he feels that she's being selfish, even if she's not, he's still going to hold her accountable for it.
Yeah. And I felt a little bit like it was a parent-child moment where he's scolding her for the way that she's behaved. And then he's saying, you know, this is going to be the consequence if you continue down this path, if you repeat these actions again. And I couldn't decide, okay, is this my impression because Shawn really is so harsh? He is that awful? Or is it a question of Alliya just not being mature enough to be able to do things like keep him apprised of her progress as she's getting ready to go to their wedding ceremony and she's realizing that she's late?
I mean, it could be a little of column A, a little of column B. I thought it was interesting that he was going off so hard about Jackie. You know, what was Jackie doing? Was she just sitting there having fun with her 2 hours, or was she trying to keep you on track, or what was going on? And I don't think we actually got an answer to that. Nope. And then we know that Alliya was getting ready mere steps away from where everyone had gathered. Why didn't you send someone there? If she's not answering your text messages, if you even texted her, why don't you send someone and be like, time?
Yeah, it seems like there's accountability on both sides.
Yeah.
Him not for checking in on her, knowing she's usually late, and of course her for not realizing that this is one time when you cannot be so late. But this conversation, when they sit down and he's threatening her to not love her anymore if he thinks that he thinks that she is being selfish, what is that?
Yeah. Where's his accountability in all of this? Everything is her fault.
Which makes me think of the whole sex thing when he was saying, unless I'm satisfied, unless I find that our love life is keeping me happy to whatever standard I have, then I'm going to have to go outside of the marriage to seek what I need. Like he's just willing to do whatever he needs to do in order to make himself happy, regardless of how it affects anybody else.
So who's the selfish one?
Yes. And yet she is responsible for living up to his expectation. And he doesn't support her at all in being able to even achieve his expectation. Mm-hmm. Like him not following through with some kind of call or text or sending somebody to the house, like you mentioned, to make sure that she's ready on time. Like, am I the only one who's looking at it this way?
No, I see it.
Okay.
And then I wonder, like, why is he even in this relationship? What is he getting out of it? What's the purpose?
I don't know. And what makes that question even more distressing is that we already know that they've tried every avenue in order to get her to the US, the student visa, the whatever visas that they've plowed through all of the visas. And this is the last resort, the K1. So maybe there isn't really love there.
It seems like it's almost like it seems so transactional between the two of them.
Yeah.
And we've seen him say several times over, you know, the person that I fell in love with is no longer here, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, then why are you with her?
Yeah. And I think we're going to see that again next week or the week after or the week after the week after, because it's definitely been previewed as part of the tell-all that he's going to bring that up again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, love that.
Anything else about that couple, or shall we wrap it up?
No, we can wrap it up.
Okay, so we didn't get any more of Greg and Joan. Unfortunately, we weren't able to attend their wedding any further, like you had wanted to last week. Mm-hmm. You wanted to see about the food. No, they're not going to show us that. It is ridiculous. As previously mentioned, the tell-all begins next week. We have no idea how many episodes there will be at this point, but we do know that there are going to be a lot of unnecessary guests and a lot of cast members from previous seasons who have no business being on this tell-all, which makes me very, very angry. We saw Danielle, Big Ed, Veronica, and Tim, among others. What? The actual F is going on?
I have no idea. No idea. But as soon as they started parading all of these people out on the stage, I was almost giddy because I'm like, B's going to be so mad.
You were right. Very on point. Yes. I feel like I don't even want to watch it because of those idiots being on the show.
Mm-hmm. And did you notice that Amani got another nose job, if not other work done?
She looked very different. I didn't recognize her, and I thought, wow, there's some kind of makeup trip going on here. But if you say it's nose job, yeah, I'll believe it.
Well, her nostrils are just so much bigger, and her nose is like smaller and pointier. And what did she do? Yeah, people were posting pictures online, and I didn't know who it was at first. I had to read the comments.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't look like herself at all. Like, what happened? You know, arguably she wasn't a bad looking person beforehand, and then now she just looks even just unnatural.
No.
I don't know how else to describe it. I think I'm just going to be staring in like disgust and wonder, like, oh, what did you do?
And why?
Yes. Well, obviously it's because of her raging insecurities.
Okay, well, I guess we'll deal with the tell-all when it happens. Just, I wanted it to be known, I am not pleased.
B's not happy.
Nope. Any last notes?
For what this episode was, I found it boring.
Huh. I agree. Weddings can be boring, though. That's kind of a universal, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not very many weddings are exciting and dramatic.
Yeah, I think I was just missing like the warm and fuzzies that I had with Joan and Greg's wedding, and
yeah,
you know, a lot of the other weddings that we've seen. All of these ones were just like lackluster. Obviously, we had some moments, but overall, I really think production could have done a better job with, I don't know, just making it better.
Well, who had the best wedding this season?
Probably Joan and Greg.
Okay.
I think. I can't think of any of the other ones that would have trumped it.
Okay.
You?
I definitely enjoyed their wedding for the pure love in it. I also enjoyed Mark and Mina's wedding just because of the aspects of the wedding that we saw that made it unique and made it sentimental. Like the Clayton stuff, the flying in the plane at the end, the French and English vows. Thought that was lovely.
Okay. Yeah. I can get on board with that.
Okay. Well, I guess nothing remains to be said.
No, surprisingly.
For the closing of this season, minus the tell-all, except that before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.